The quarterback battle in Cleveland just took a dramatic twist, and Shedeur Sanders is right in the middle of it, even without stepping on the field. Earlier this week, the Browns announced that rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel would be getting the nod to start ahead of Joe Flacco, pushing Shedeur even further down the depth chart. For most young players, this kind of news would spark frustration, maybe even anger. But instead of lashing out, Shedeur responded in the most unexpected way by posting a cryptic, faith-filled message on Instagram that immediately had fans buzzing. The post wasn't a complaint or a subtle jab at the coaching staff. It was a layered message about patience, perseverance, and destiny. Sanders wrote, "Greatness has a price, and you are paying that price. Greatness is your destiny, not just on the field, but off the field as well. Your character is being tested and built at the same time. God has a plan and purpose for you. So no matter what ground you gain or setbacks you face, know this: the Lord will continue to fight for you, and you shall hold your peace and remain at rest." Those aren't the words of a bitter athlete. They're the words of someone who understands the long game. And make no mistake, Shedeur is playing the long game. This is a quarterback who's been groomed since childhood by his father, Deion "Primetime" Sanders, to carry himself with confidence under the brightest lights. Deion has always preached one message to his son: stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And Shedeur seems to be living that lesson right now. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dillon Gabriel wasn't drafted by the same person who brought Shedeur to Cleveland. Head coach Kevin Stefanski pushed for Gabriel, while general manager Andrew Berry selected Shedeur. That split inside the organization is fueling speculation that this decision has as much to do with politics as it does performance. And if you know anything about the Browns' history, internal conflict has destroyed more than one quarterback's career. So when Shedeur posts a message about greatness being tested, fans can't help but wonder, was this just personal reflection, or was it a quiet response to being overlooked in favor of Gabriel? His words carry weight because they come at a time when the Browns' backboard is dominating. Future feels uncertain. Their locker room feels divided, and their fan base is already restless. The NFL is built on storylines, and this one is just getting started. A highly touted rookie QB passed over for another. A legendary father dropping cryptic hints about his son's opportunity coming very soon. And an Instagram post that feels more like a declaration than a diary entry. Shedeur Sanders may not be Cleveland's star. At first glance, Shedeur Sanders' Instagram post looked like something you'd expect from a motivational speaker, not a quarterback fighting for a spot in the NFL. But once you peel back the layers, it feels like much more than a random piece of inspiration. His words weren't just about staying positive. They carried the tone of a young man who knows he's being tested, on the field, in the locker room, and in the public eye. Greatness has a price, and you are paying that price. That line alone hit fans hard. For Shedeur, the price of greatness isn't just physical workouts or long practices. It's patience. It's sitting behind a quarterback who got the call ahead of him. It's knowing that people online are questioning whether he's ready, while he quietly grinds away with the scout team. By framing it this way, he's not calling out the coaches or the organization. He's saying, "I understand the struggle, and I accept it as part of the journey." The rest of his post leaned even heavier into faith. God has a plan and purpose for you. That's not just a casual statement. Coming from Shedeur, it's a reminder that he sees football as bigger than the game itself. Instead of letting frustration boil over, he's positioning his patience as part of a bigger story, almost daring fans and critics alike to trust that his time will come. And then there's the line about character being tested and built at the same time. That's where it feels personal. Everyone in Cleveland knows the quarterback room is tense. The battle between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders isn't just about talent. It's about who the coaches trust more, who gets the reps, and ultimately, who survives the politics. In that environment, patience isn't weakness, it's strategy. So while some might have scrolled past his post and thought it was just another cliché, the truth is, Shedeur was sending a message. He's not rattled, he's not panicking, and he's not bitter. Instead, he's reminding everyone that pressure doesn't break him, it sharpens him. On the surface, the Browns' quarterback situation looks like a typical rookie battle. But dig a little deeper, and you'll see something far more complicated. A tug-of-war inside the organization itself. The decision to let Dillon Gabriel start over Deion Sanders isn't just about performance. It's about politics, trust, and who really holds the power in Cleveland. Here's the backstory. Head coach Kevin Stefanski reportedly pushed for Dillon Gabriel, believing his system would benefit from a quicker decision-maker who could manage the offense without creating chaos. Meanwhile, general manager Andrew Berry was the one who invested in Deion Sanders, betting on his upside, pedigree, and long-term star potential. When two different voices in leadership back two different quarterbacks, it doesn't just create competition, it creates tension. And this isn't speculation without foundation. NFL insiders have hinted for weeks that Stefanski and Berry weren't fully aligned on the direction of the offense. Now, with Gabriel being handed the first shot, fans can see those cracks for themselves. It's not just about who plays better in practice, it's about whose vision for the team wins out. The problem? These internal battles rarely stay behind closed doors. Once a team starts losing, or once a quarterback struggles, the narrative explodes into the open. If Gabriel falters, questions will immediately shift towards Shedeur. Was he overlooked because of bias? Was Stefanski protecting his guy at the expense of the team's future? Those questions don't go away. They get louder with every loss. And Shedeur's cryptic Instagram post suddenly makes more sense in this light. Your character is being tested and built at the same time. He might not be calling anyone out directly, but he knows exactly what's happening around him. He's not just waiting for an opportunity, he's watching an internal power struggle play out above his head. The Browns have a long history of quarterback chaos. And right now, this battle between Stefanski's choice and Berry's choice feels like another chapter in that same story. For Shedeur, patience isn't just about development. It's about surviving the politics until his moment finally arrives. Before Deion Sanders has even taken a meaningful snap in Cleveland, the fan base is already split down the middle. On one side, you have the believers, the ones who see his calm confidence, his college resume, and of course, his father's legacy as proof that he's built for the NFL stage. On the other side, you've got skeptics who argue that Shedeur is more hype than substance, a name that generates headlines but hasn't yet earned trust on the field. And both sides are getting louder by the day. The believers point to Shedeur's patience and mindset as rare traits for a rookie. Most young quarterbacks crumble under the spotlight, especially when they're not given immediate opportunities. But Shedeur has leaned into preparation, speaking publicly about how much he's learning from the scout team, and posting messages about faith and discipline. To his supporters, this is exactly what you want from a future franchise quarterback. A guy who can stay locked in, even while waiting for his chance. The skeptics, however, see things differently. They argue that Shedeur has been treated like a superstar before proving anything in the NFL. They question whether his success in college will translate against professional defenses, and whether his calm demeanor is maturity or simply masking nerves. For them, the fact that Dillon Gabriel was given the nod first isn't about politics, it's about trust. In their eyes, Stefanski is sending a message. Shedeur isn't ready yet. But here's where it gets tricky. Fans in Cleveland are no strangers to disappointment. After decades of quarterback struggles, the city has developed a reflex of skepticism. Some simply don't want to buy into the Shedeur hype because they've seen too many next big things fall apart before. That's why every Instagram post, every practice update, and every rumor sparks heated debates online. What both sides agree on, though, is that Shedeur is polarizing, and that's powerful. The NFL thrives on storylines that divide opinion because it keeps everyone watching. Whether fans are rooting for him or doubting him, they're locked in, waiting to see what happens next. And in a league where perception often becomes reality, Shedeur's ability to sway that divide could end up being just as important as what he does on the field. No matter how you look at it, Deion Sanders isn't just another rookie quarterback. He's the son of Deion "Primetime" Sanders, a Hall of Famer, a cultural icon, and now a head coach whose words carry more weight than most front office press releases. And make no mistake, Deion's influence is already shaping how fans, media, and even the Browns themselves view Shedeur's journey. Just a few weeks ago, Deion appeared on Jason and Travis Kelce's podcast and made a bold prediction. Shedeur's time to start in the NFL was coming very soon. Now, Deion isn't the type to make reckless statements. When he speaks, especially about his son, people assume he's got inside knowledge. That single comment fueled speculation that someone high up in Cleveland had hinted Shedeur would eventually get his shot. Whether that's true or not, Deion's confidence added pressure, not just on the Browns coaching staff, but on Dillon Gabriel too. Deion has always preached the same message to his sons: stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's a philosophy built on discipline, patience, and self-belief. For Shedeur, that mindset is gold right now. Instead of sulking about being overlooked, he's embraced the grind, trusted the process, and leaned into his faith. And while Deion's words might create headlines, they also serve as a constant reminder to Shedeur that this moment is just part of a bigger plan. But here's the twist. Deion's presence is both a blessing and a burden. On one hand, it gives Shedeur an unmatched support system and credibility that few rookies can match. On the other, it means every move Shedeur makes comes with amplified scrutiny. When you're the son of primetime, patience isn't just tested, it's magnified under a national spotlight. Still, Deion's involvement ensures one thing: Shedeur won't go unnoticed. Whether he's backing his son with bold predictions or quietly preparing him behind the scenes, Primetime guarantees that Shedeur's story won't fade into the background. And in the cutthroat world of the NFL, that kind of spotlight can be just as powerful as talent itself. When the Browns announced that Dillon Gabriel would be getting the start, it wasn't just a routine depth chart adjustment. It was a decision that could reshape the trajectory of the entire quarterback room. For Deion Sanders, this wasn't just about being passed over. It was about how the organization is signaling its priorities, and that changes everything. First, let's be clear. Gabriel starting doesn't automatically mean he's better. Coaches often give their hand-picked player the early nod to justify their decision. Kevin Stefanski reportedly backed Gabriel from the start, while GM Andrew Berry placed his bet on Shedeur. By putting Gabriel on the field first, Stefanski is essentially testing his guy in front of the world, hoping to prove he was right. But that gamble comes with major risks. If Gabriel struggles, the pressure to pivot to Shedeur will grow instantly, and the locker room, along with the fans, will be watching closely. Second, Gabriel's opportunity sets the tone for how Shedeur is judged. Every pass Gabriel throws, every mistake he makes, will be compared to what people believe Shedeur could have done. That means Shedeur doesn't even have to step on the field to be part of the conversation. His name will still dominate headlines. If Gabriel plays well, Shedeur is cast as the backup with potential. If Gabriel falters, Shedeur instantly becomes the savior in waiting. Either way, his presence looms large. Third, this move exposes Cleveland's long-running issue. They've never handled quarterback development smoothly. Instead of grooming talent with patience, they rush decisions, play politics, and let chaos set the tone. Giving Gabriel the first crack might feel like a win for Stefanski, But history says these kinds of choices often backfire. And if it does, Shedeur could find himself in the spotlight far sooner than anyone expected. At the end of the day, Gabriel starting doesn't just affect one game. It creates a ripple effect. It intensifies the fan debate, amplifies the media noise, and sets up a situation where Shedeur's first snap, whenever it comes, will carry even higher stakes. In Cleveland, every quarterback decision is magnified. And this one just made Shedeur's story even bigger. For Deion Sanders, the decision to let Dillon Gabriel start doesn't just impact this week. It has major implications for his long-term future in Cleveland. On the surface, it might look like a setback. After all, every quarterback wants to be first in line, and Gabriel getting the early reps could be seen as a sign that Shedeur isn't the coach's priority. But if you take a closer look, this situation might actually set Shedeur up for something bigger down the road. Here's why. When you're not the first to play, you're not the first to take the heat. If Gabriel struggles, all of that criticism lands squarely on him and on the coaching staff that backed him. Meanwhile, Shedeur gets to stay patient, continue improving, and wait for the moment when the Browns have no choice but to turn to him. In other words, the longer Cleveland delays, the more pressure builds for Shedeur to be the answer. But there's also a flip side. If Gabriel plays well and wins games, Shedeur's road to the starting job becomes tougher. That could force the Browns into a tricky decision. Do they stick with the safe option in Gabriel, or do they risk shaking things up by giving Shedeur his shot? That kind of tension has broken teams before, and Cleveland's history suggests they don't always handle it well. This also raises a bigger question. How much patience will Shedeur have? He's a competitor, and he knows his talent. He also knows he was chosen by the GM, not necessarily by the head coach. If the Browns don't give him a fair chance, will he eventually push for a fresh start elsewhere? Rumors in the NFL move fast, and teams are always looking for young quarterbacks with upside. For now, Shedeur's future is still wide open. He can either become the Browns' franchise savior when his number is called, or he can become another chapter in Cleveland's long history of quarterback mismanagement. Either way, one thing is clear. This story is far from over, and every decision the Browns make from here on out will define not just Gabriel's future, but Shedeur's destiny in the NFL. When you piece everything together, the Instagram post, the Browns' decision to start Dillon Gabriel, the whispers of politics inside the front office, and Deion Sanders' bold prediction, a bigger picture starts to form. This isn't just about a rookie waiting for his turn. It's about how a young quarterback navigates one of the toughest environments in the NFL, while the world watches every move. Deion Sanders has handled the spotlight with more composure than most veterans. Instead of complaining, he's leaned into faith, patience, and preparation. That mindset matters, because in Cleveland, chaos has always been louder than calm. By keeping his focus, Shedeur is building something more important than highlight plays. He's building resilience. And resilience is what separates long-term franchise quarterbacks from the names that fade after a season or two. At the same time, Dillon Gabriel's early start has put the Browns on a collision course with their own history. If Gabriel thrives, the front office has to balance loyalty to their head coach with the investment they made in Shedeur. If Gabriel struggles, the pressure to hand the reins to Shedeur will grow unbearable. Either way, Shedeur's presence changes the entire equation. He doesn't need to take a snap to influence the conversation. He's already shaping the narrative just by waiting. But here's the deeper truth. Shedeur's story is no longer just about football. It's about how athletes handle pressure, how organizations manage talent, and how perception can become reality in the blink of an eye. His Instagram post wasn't just a quote. It was a declaration that he knows the cost of greatness, and he's willing to pay it. So now the question shifts from if Shedeur will get his chance to when. Will it happen because Gabriel falters? Will it come through injury or necessity? Or will the Browns finally recognize that patience isn't weakness, it's strength? One thing is certain. Shedeur Sanders' journey in Cleveland has already become one of the most fascinating storylines in the NFL. And whether you believe in him or doubt him, you'll be watching. Because when his number is finally called, the spotlight will be brighter than ever.